online.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Let me just post that also. Welcome to the May, which is now our 7th or 6th Imperial Kitchen series with the Imperial Court of New York. Thank you for joining. We want to just say thank you to our amazing co-host, Princess Royale Cutie Pie. She's not able to be here tonight, but she's here with us in spirit. So I'm Emperor Antonio T. Ventura, and my co-host is...
And Duke Nelson Bonaparte.
Gotta remember your
Imperial
name.
Court of New York. How are you guys? Welcome. Fun to be here.
Yeah, so I think there's a delay.
What are we doing today?
Right, I think there's a delay in the sound. So we are here to raise money again for an amazing beneficiary. I just put the PayPal link in the comments. You'll see it there, and as you see in the banner below, we have our PayPal link that net proceeds will benefit PFLAG New York, and we'll actually get a quick little PFLAG. I'm going to say it now, just so I don't forget. So for those who don't know what PFLAG is, PFLAG stands for Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender People. And the New York chapter is actually the founding chapter of PFLAG. And what they do, their whole mission is to create a better future for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth and adults through a partnership with parents, allies, and LGBTQ plus people. They have many different programs that they do throughout the city and where they have a location where their programs are called Safe Schools, where they work with teachers, principals, and all administration to help make sure that LGBTQ youth has a successful time at school, support services such as family counseling, things of that nature, or even if someone comes from a family that's not accepting, they create that family aspect. Corporate and community outreach, where they partner with different places like to create an inclusive society through diversity education programs for businesses and corporations, and then media campaigns and advocacy for the LGBTQ plus community. And the way that the Imperial Court of New York fits into that, for those who may not know who we are, who see this on a friend's page or whatnot, we are our own 501c3 volunteer fundraising organization, and we play the game of royalty, hence the titles of Emperor and Duke that we have, or we just said, and Princess Royale for our third co-host. And through that, we raise money for other nonprofits. So we started in 1986 in New York. We started as a whole, the idea of this in 1965 in San Francisco. We've been around for a while. There's about 70 chapters of our idea throughout the entire North America. And here in New York, in the past year, in our 35th reign of Emperor Tree and Empress Sugar Be Real. Props for them. They just were crowned. Go to the YouTube and look at that video if you haven't seen it yet for our digital My Vidal Gowns. And this is, I believe, the very first live and or video live fundraiser of the reign. So we're very happy to be able to kick that off with them. And again, thank you to our amazing dowagers who are on and off on our last 6 or so of these. So I think we're going to start real quick with just everyone get your refreshments ready, because we don't have a signature cocktail for today, but I'm just going to make a quick little vodka soda. So whatever you're having, I think you have a suggestion for our recipe, Nelson?
Yes, for a recipe, I will suggest if you have a nice full-bodied white wine, I will also suggest, if you do this recipe during the winter time, you can do a nice Beaujolais Nouveau, that comes out in every usually in November. So a nice light body red or a nice full body white will go very well with this, being that it's chicken, but because it's a red sauce, you can have a nice light-bodied kind of red wine. I'm having
Amazing.
a diet soda.
I'm just adding a little bit of grenadine because that's just what I like. Yeah, so cheers to anyone drinking with us, no matter what you're drinking, partaking. Hopefully some of you were able to get the ingredients and can cook along when Nelson starts the recipe. But this is also our shout out to all the mothers out there, belated Mother's Day show. So thank you to all the mothers, whether you be blood or chosen. Thank you for everything that you do to create a good society and encourage and help people grow. And also, it is Asian American Pacific Islander History Month. It's a big month, big week. So shout out to all of our AAPI family and friends out there. I myself am among those as a Filipino American descent. So just shout out to everyone. Please just look out for events in the next couple of weeks as May keeps going. So I think with that, I'm going to switch myself over here to Facebook so I can see the comments more clearly. If you have any questions throughout this, please put them in the chat. Say hello. We want to interact. We want to see you as much as we can virtually. And hopefully Nelson can give a little bit of insight when we actually have the questions asked. But I think first we should start with a little bit of your background, because I know in the past couple videos I've mentioned that like I'm the amateur cook here in this trio that does this event, and my other two are actually trained chefs. So you can give a little bio of yourself, Nelson.
I gotta say, for an amateur cook, you're doing fabulous. So don't call yourself amateur. I think.
I mean, I almost went to.
You're doing very, very well, especially with your baking. So, Nelson Gonzalez, also known as Duke Nelson Bonaparte. I have been in the restaurant business for over 30 plus years. I started in Puerto Rico at the Atlantic Beach Hotel with my first partner, working as a waiter, and I worked my way through, front of the house, back of the house, from kitchens, from bartending, from waitstaff, and I have worked at places like La Column d'Or on East 26th Street. I have worked at Fresco's by Scotto. I was one of the opening waiters for Local on 47th Street when they opened on 47th Street and Broadway. Worked at Saks Fifth Avenue for a while in the kitchen as well. So I've been in and out of kitchens. I went to the New York Restaurant School on 34th Street, and I graduated with culinary arts and restaurant management. That's basically in the nutshell what I've been doing for, since I started getting involved in restaurant business. A good thing, when I started was that my first partner used to take me to every single restaurant. Being the owner of a restaurant, he used to take me to all these different places, and I started learning all these different types of cuisines and what the proper etiquettes were, what to eat with, what to drink with, and pairing wines and aperitif and after dinner drinks and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. And that's what made me stay in the restaurants business for this long. And I love cooking. I love entertaining people. And I like, being in the front of the house so I can be around people as well. So that's why I've done also management. I used to manage Regents on 53rd Street on the east side, who's part of the owners, was part of the conglomerate that has the townhouse. So I was part of that group as well. So, being manager, being in the kitchen, first cook, line cook, chef, sous chef, been everywhere. Oh, pastry chef as well. And a la cremaillere in Danksville, which is still around. And also in New Haven, Connecticut, Bruxelles and Scuzzi's. So those are the places that I have worked all over. And I love cooking. So
that is amazing. I didn't even know half of that. I didn't even know half of that.
See what happens when you get me to start talking?
Hey, I love it. I love it. We need more of it. A quick shout out to our own member, Dolores Degage, who is an amazing member of the Imperial Court. Say hello. Just shout out on Facebook.
Hi, Dolores.
Again, say hi. We want to be able to interact with everybody. Questions, but I think it might be time to do a little switcheroo here. We're going to switch these screens and tell us a little bit about what we're making today, Nelson. Or you, rather.
In honor of my mother and on our Mother's Day, I'm making arroz blanco, which is white rice with pollo guisado. That's Puerto Rican chicken stew. Now, each household, Latino household, and each Puerto Rican household does their thing different. Yesterday, when I did a little bit of shout out of what's going to happen, I mentioned salt fat back, and also mentioned ham, smoked ham. Those are the original recipes that are in what they call it the Bible of the Puerto Rican cookery, which is Spanish book, an English book that was translated years ago, and by Carmen Valdejulit. This is the book that all Puerto Ricans go to. So those who are not taught by their parents, usually that's the book that they pick up and they look at recipes in there. So the original ways of cooking this was to make a base with fat back and also the ham and all the other things that go in there and its layers. So without further ado, I'm gonna quickly start doing this so that way we can talk and I can cook for you guys and have this ready in time. So what I did today is I took annatto seeds, which is right here. The annatto seeds, I put them in oil and I cooked them for a little bit in very hot oil. And what happened is that I strained it, and it's this beautiful color. So I'm gonna come over here, turn this on so we can have this going. It's a beautiful red color that gives it a nice deep color to the stew. Now the achiote, which is the annatto seeds, are part of the achiote, is what people used to use in our ancestors or native Indians. They used to use this to paint their bodies with. So that's one of the main ingredients that goes in here. So while that's going, I'm gonna quickly get this garlic. So we have garlic, and what happens is a lot of families, what they love doing is that they love making the sofrito as they go. I do sofrito and batches as well and keep them in the freezer in ice cubes. So I'll show you in a little bit how they look once I make it. But I also do this as I'm going. So here's our garlic going in there. We have also here some onions. And then I'm gonna put the ham in there. I didn't get the fat back. You can omit this if you want to. That's fine. People don't want to use, you know, fat back or lard or anything like that. Traditionally, that's what you use. Uh, I have omitted a lot of that stuff in my life, so I use oil instead of using lard, and the fat back. I don't add it to this.
I mean, you can't go wrong with
So,
to say that.
oh no, you can't. Believe me, you can't go wrong with that. But you know how it's. We have to make sure that we keep ourselves going on. For a long time we are still around. So while that's cooking, my mom, what she used to do with this is my mom, once this was nice and crispy, she would give me a little bit of this in a piece of toast. And I would have that, the ham and the fat back in a little piece of toast. That was heaven. So here I have Covanello pepper. Now the Covanello pepper is this nice long pepper. It's like $2.99 a pound, but it's very good. It's part of the sofrito uh, ingredients. So I have them here diced, and with that I have what we call the sweet pepper, which is right here. Now the sweet pepper is very similar to your Jamaican hot pepper, which you gotta make sure that when you go to the store it says sweet pepper, because otherwise forget about it. I made a mistake once doing that. I used the hot Jamaican peppers, Scotch bonnet. Whew, forget it. It was crazy. I
I could
could
imagine.
not eat my own food. Now, once this is here going, I am actually going to add now your chicken. Now with this, I have some kind. It's for me, it's very important to have whole chicken. I mean, it's like if I go to an Italian restaurant and I ask for cacciatore, I better have a cacciatore, which is the whole entire chicken itself, because I do not like just chicken breast. And it's for me a cacciatore, a true cacciatore has to have the pieces of chicken in there and your mushrooms and your onions and all that. For me, it's the same thing with the Puerto Rican thing. It has to have the whole chicken, and it has to have the skin on it.
Bone in and skin on, correct? Bone in, get that flavor.
Bone in, skin on, yes. Some households they love doing this kind of thing with a nice old hen, what they call old hen, gallina vieja, which is amazing. Now, this same exact recipe, you can do it with pieces of beef as well. So that's what becomes carne guisada for you, and that would be like nice fillet or nice piece of chuck or something like that that you can actually cut into nice dice and put it in there. I use tomato sauce as well as I use whole tomatoes. This morning I took this tomato, I quartered the bottom a little bit. I made some little slits on the tomato, on this part of the tomato here. And what I did is I put it in water, boiled it a little bit. I peeled the skin off it, and I took the seeds out. Now that is your basic for you starting your sofrito here right now. On this, I'm going to add your culantro. Now culantro is known as sawtooth. Sawtooth in the Asian area is known as sawtooth. It's a beautiful flavor to this. This is also known as culantro or recao. A lot of people know it as recao. Some areas in Puerto Rico know it as culantro.
Okay,
Now this is
I was very when I read the recipe, I was like, what is that? Because it was like it looked just
and
like
this has a yeah, this has a very nice flavor to it as well. I also add to that some cilantro. Now, some people hate cilantro, like I mentioned yesterday. So you can use flat parsley if you want. That's no problem if you want to, switch it up a little bit. But this culantro then, or the recao, will be giving you the flavor that you are going to miss in the cilantro without the aftertaste that cilantro has. So you can substitute stuff.
for all you
So
people
this
out
baby
there.
goes in there.
Yep, for all you people out there talking about cilantro a couple weeks ago that we saw on Facebook, here's your answer right there. Now you know.
Use flat parsley, but make sure that you put a little bit of the recao in there because the recao gives you that nice flavor.
There you go.
Meanwhile, I'm going to turn this here on and I'm going to put the water. I'm doing 2 cups of white rice to 2.5 cups of water. Now, there's a trick while growing up in Puerto Rico that we learned. So I'm going to put 2 cups right now, maybe two and a half, depends. So once that's boiling, I will add the rice in there. So what happens is that we usually put a little spoon in the center, and it has to be about an inch of the water between the rice and the water. A little bit of, and what that does is that's a trick that we learned when we're growing up that supposedly gives you a nice fluffy rice. Sometimes people put too much or too little. So if you follow the recipe as it says, sometimes you have to adjust the water level in your rice.
Yep, and Filipino and Asian, it's you put your fingertip to the top of the rice, and it's the first knuckle line. So very similar thing, and just a
That's
quick
interesting.
quick shout out to Emperor Fantasia and Prince Royal. Oh wow!
Hi, Emperor Fantasia.
Your court name. I'm sorry. In top of my head, I'm so sorry. But shout out to both of them who are both on our board and amazing members of our court. And Emperor Fantasia says, "What's burning?"
So this is going pretty well and pretty quick. Right now, what I'm going to add for this, guys, is my own adobo. I used to buy adobo from different companies, and I decided, sometimes it's too salty. There's a lot of salt in there. There's too many other things in the adobo. So I make my own adobo. And that's the reason I have this over here. I want to bring this camera for a minute. So my adobo mixture will be whole oregano, cumin, garlic, turmeric, and a little bit of pink Himalayan salt. I do the salt on the side and actually do not put it in the adobo itself. So this is the adobo. Sometimes I do add a little bit of Italian seasoning to it because I like to spice it up sometimes. Sometimes I will probably put in my adobo a little bit of red pepper if I feel a little daring. But mainly my adobo is garlic, turmeric, cumin, and oregano. So that's what I use most of the time. So I'm adding that baby here. And I gave you guys a recipe and it has measurements. Puerto Rican like I am, and most of us, we do not measure anything. We just know it by tasting, we know it by feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And Duke Poppy Bear. Duke Poppy Bear, who I believe is just in the other room, said hello.
Hello, honey. He's on the other room, yes. So that's going on in there. I am going to add my tomato sauce as well. Now, this is half a cup of water. This is our measuring cups as well. I'm going to put that in there. That's going to start boiling up soon. Going to bring the heat higher. Then what else I'm putting in there? Oh, I'm going to put my manzanilla olives right now, which are stuffed olive, which is olives with red pepper, red pimento in there. I'm going to add that baby in there now. Little bit of salt. And Himalayan pink salt goes a long way. So just a little bit is enough. Otherwise, it will be very salty. Then I'm going to cover this, let it simmer a little. And we'll add the rest of it, the ingredients, which will be your potato, capers, and your carrots. So seeing that you see, there's a lot of salt in there. I kind of minimize the salt because caper is salty. On the stuffed pimento olives are a little bit salty, and I do not put salt in my water for the rice, and I do not put oil. Some people do put oil and a little bit of salt in there. If I put oil, to me it just makes it a little too sticky for me, so I'd rather not put it on. And I don't, like I said, I don't add any more salt because the salt is already in this mixture here. So, Michael, any questions coming through?
None yet. None yet. I was just gonna remind everyone, any questions of what Nelson has put in there or that you have on substitutions, please feel free to ask them, or just questions in general about the beneficiary or what we do at support. But that was a great hint because I think a lot of people don't realize that you do have to adjust your salt if you're adding things that are brined because there's a lot of salt in those already. And just it's a good tip for everyone when you're cooking because that sometimes is the reason that things are oversalted is because you try to salt normally when you're salted foods already.
Yeah, definitely. That does happen. That some people, you go to a restaurant. Sometimes the food is a little salty, and it's because sometimes they don't realize that. Oh, I added a little bit of this and brine. I added a little bit of pickled this or whatever, and then the oil and the salt just explodes in your mouth. And some people, that's why some restaurants now are actually have been taking the salt off the table because they'd rather that you taste it and then ask for the salt. I usually, when I serve something, please taste it first, then you can add the salt if you want, but I usually put enough seasoning in there that you don't have to worry about it. Now, the little trick that I always love doing. You know that I made a sofrito there right now, but still, I'm gonna add some sofrito.
Oh, very nice. And
So these are my babies. This is the sofrito after I made it, and
ah,
this is an ice cube trays. This is about an ounce and a half of liquid. So basically, this I'm gonna put 3 ounces of sofrito in there, and that gets a little extra flavor on top of the sofrito that is already done as I'm going along.
that,
I'm gonna put a third one.
that's amazing.
See,
And
I just love adding more.
yeah, Count LaCarlo says, "What time will dinner be served?" But your sofrito actually is just like when we had Sugar Be Real on, and she talked about her green seasoning from Trinidad. Same thing. They make it and they freeze it, so you have it always on hand.
I always have it on hand, and what I have is like you saw the recao, the cilantro, the Covanello pepper, the sweet pepper, onion, garlic. All that is your sofrito. A little bit of oil. I put it on my Nina uh, blender. Blend everything together. Let it rest a little bit, and then put it in ice cube trays, and then pop it in the freezer.
That's amazing. But yeah,
Rice is going on now.
so what do you think is the difference? I noticed you said you boil your water first when most people put rice in their water cold.
Yes, most people do that. I like to boil it first and then stir it in a little bit. And once it's stirred in, now I'm looking at it and I'm gonna bring this up a little bit. So I'm looking at it now. I may just adjust a little bit of the water, but I think the water is fine for me right now. I'm gonna bring this to a boil again, then cover it, simmer it for 20 minutes, and that's ready. So I'm gonna do my little test.
And no, Fantasia, that is not a certain type of vegetation.
What is he talking about?
He's asking if it's a little Mary.
Oh.
No, no, Fantasia, it is not. No, no, no.
So look at this. Look how beautiful this baby's coming along. And actually, I'm gonna cover this and let it simmer. Once your chicken reaches 165 degrees, or basically once I put the potato in there and the potato is done, the dish is done.
Awesome. And there's a
So I'm
Mimi.
gonna drop the.
Yep, there's a Mimi Perez on that
Sorry.
says. There's a Mimi Perez, I believe someone you might know, that says, "I clean and boil my rice too." First, before.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Who's that? Who's that?
I don't know.
Who said that? I'm gonna find them. Hi, clean and boil. Oh, hi, Mimi. Hi, that's my cousin. Hi, cousin. Prima, ¿cómo estás?
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So this is a cousin I haven't met yet, but according to our DNA on Ancestry, we are cousins, and I can't wait to meet her in person. She lives in Brooklyn, so hopefully I'll get to meet her soon.
I'm so excited. We have a Tita Gonzalez on as well.
Oh, that's my sister-in-law.
Awesome, welcome. Family affair, I love it.
So, family affair. So here goes the potato. I'm dicing the potato quickly and putting it in there, covering it and forgetting about this until it's ready. I'm gonna just quickly stir this up. And I'm gonna put a little bit of more water for that because I like to have it. I like it a little bit thick, but not too thick that it doesn't run into the rice itself. So this rice is ready to be. I brought it to boil, ready to be covered,
Hungry.
and this is my Puerto Rican. This is my Puerto Rican background also. Again, always put a little bit of tin foil on top, then cover it so it keeps the steam in there. And that I learned from my mom. In 20 minutes, it will be ready.
That's
And
awesome.
there you go.
I've seen that trick too. Grew up with that trick. I know so many people do that. And then, like, some people I know afterwards, once it's done, they'll put a towel over it so it absorbs the steam to help it fluff. All the different tricks. But while that cooks, can you give a little bit of background? Like, you know, this is Mother's Day, a related Mother's Day episode. We did lumpia as our very first one, which is a connection to my mom, where I get my Filipino descent from. But for you, with cooking with, so give a little background, special like kitchen moments with your mom.
When my mom, she was a single mother, you know, as everybody, mainly a lot of people on Facebook know because sometimes I don't keep secrets. I was adopted by this woman, you know, and you know, my DNA came back and it says that I'm actually from a Puerto Rican background. So I'm Puerto Rican and I was adopted by a Puerto Rican family, which was beautiful. So growing up with her, my father left when I was about 8 years old. So growing up with a single mother, it was difficult, but I love being in the kitchen with her. So I will cook with her. You know, she will do all the different things for me. We will have, you know, I do white rice with canned corned beef, but I spice it up a little bit. So it's, you know, it's that old tradition of the canned corned beef. It's the tradition of having white rice with fried egg on top, you know, for breakfast sometimes. Maicena, which is basically cornstarch with a little bit of, you know, my mom used to put an egg in it so it would become a little yellowish. But, you know, that was also, you know, maicena is basically, it's almost like a cream of wheat Puerto Rican version of it. Of course, my favorite, which was always pollo, in any way. So she would do arroz con pollo, she would do pollo guisado for me, carne guisada. So I will be with her in the kitchen. I will do the dishes with her. You know, it was a family affair. I learned how to make pasteles. So maybe for Christmas, I'll teach you guys how to make pasteles. But I'm I'll keep that promise loosely. And oh, I have to teach you guys also because people have asked me how to make pernil. So we will talk about pernil and do pernil in person. I'll probably do like a preview to it, you know, how to prepare the pernil a couple of days before, so that when I'm cooking it, you already have that experience of the flavors into the pernil. Because I usually like to marinate it for 2 to 3 days before I cook it. So, you know, I miss her. You know, there's a saying that and there was a saying she always told me, and this was interesting because I didn't understand it until I got older and I found out that I was adopted. Was that madre no es la que te pare, sino la que te cría. Mom is not the one who gives birth to you, but the one who raises you. And it kind of, I was always, what does that mean? You know, and then when I found out that I was adopted, I was like, wow, that is a deep, real situation. That a mother is the one who suffers, who's next to you constantly through everything, and you know doesn't abandon you or anything. And some mothers that give away kids is not because they want to abandon them; it's because situations were not right for them at that time to take care of their babies, or they were too young, and they rather give you to a family that has the means to be able to help you grow and give you what they cannot give you at that time. And that's why a lot of families now are doing, you know, family reunions, adoptions. Finally, in New York City, there used to be closed adoptions. Now they're open adoptions. All the records are available. so people are able to reunite with the kids that unfortunately at that time they couldn't take care of. But later in life they want to be able to see how they've grown. And I hope someday I will find my family. I know that I have a sibling and I have a half sibling. The half sibling I know about, but we're still trying to figure out when we're gonna meet and how we're gonna talk about the situation. But my full sibling is out there somewhere, and my family is out there somewhere. I have a feeling my mom and dad still alive.
Well,
So this is very dear to me.
Thank you for that story and background. And I know there's people that watch this that have the same story or similar stories. And yeah, we hope that you do get a chance to connect with all that family. But like we said a little earlier, this is our Mother's Day episode. And like I said, that's all mothers, whether it's birth, adopted, chosen, step, all of the above. All mothers of the world. Especially because, in the LGBTQ plus community world, we have our chosen mothers also, because sometimes we don't have support of our family. And, we have those, whether they're drag queens or not drag queens or cisgender women or trans women, all women that take us
and
under
that
the...
And that is true, Michael. I mean, when I was with my first partner, we had this beautiful woman who worked with us in the restaurant, Doris, and Doris was our cook. And that's how I got into working in the kitchen. She got sick one day and she asked me, please get into the kitchen and help me cook. And, I did the menu that night for people. And I worked with her. And when he passed away, she became one of my roommates. Actually, she slept in the same bed with me, and she was my mother. She was my chosen mother, and she kept an eye out for me all throughout after my first partner died until I moved to New Haven. And I miss her. I miss Doris. I'm sorry, but you miss your mother, and she was my chosen mother as well, and I loved her very dearly. And those memories keep coming, they flood back, and I feel both of them around. I know that they're looking down on me, and I've come a long way in my life. In July I'll be 9 years sober. I have accomplished so many things in my life. I have been interviewed, by Joe Torres on ABC. I've been interviewed on NBC, Telemundo. I've done things with my magazine. I have, I'm working on bringing it back. I've done so many things in my life and accomplished so much. And I still, at 55, I still have a lot to accomplish. So I'm sure I will learn a lot more than what I'm doing. And this is thanks to those very strong women that were in my life, who gave me everything.
Yep, I love that. And that, yeah, there's no words to it. But speaking of Sofrito Magazine, they actually have left a little heart on our comment section. And I have to admit, I am Mexican, but I do not speak Spanish. So Tita wrote a comment that I cannot translate. So you can take
let me take a quick look at it.
little.
She said, in 20 minutes the rice will be ready. Okay, and then she says, like my mom, she always gave us, and she always took care of us when we visited her with rice and chicken. I love it, and fricassee is my favorite as well.
We got about half.
She also went through that. That Danny and her were spoiled by the mothers.
Yeah, I got about half of that reading it, so I didn't want to butcher it. But yeah, but like you said, with the cooking and in the kitchen with various mothers in your life, same thing. I grew up cooking, or at least attempting to help my mom cook. She reminds me sometimes that I claim that I helped with tamales, but I didn't really. I just kind of sat there. But yeah, grew up making lumpia with her, pancit, because she's where I get my Filipino heritage from. My dad's where I get my Mexican heritage from. And I grew up around all the food of my cultures that I am. I'm from Southern California, so when I came to New York, it was really interesting because everyone thought I was Puerto Rican or Dominican or something. I was like, no, Mexican. But again, being inside the kitchen with my mom actually sparked me wanting to do. We had a foods class in high school, so I did that in high school, and I almost went to culinary school. But I went to music school instead. But yeah, love of cooking has always been there. And it's, people say that, the center of your home is actually the kitchen. And that's 1,000% true in my mind, in my book, that it's that. And whether it's your mother, your father, but we're just celebrating our mothers this month, whoever it is in your family, aunties, uncles, grandparents, but it bonds you. And it's really is the root to all people's soul, I believe. But yeah, and so how about while we wait for the final minutes of this to be ready, tell us a little bit about Sofrito Magazine, because they did comment on the post.
It's an online magazine. Right now, I have it on hold. I'm kind of reimagining it and rethinking the whole idea of it. It was out for 3 years. It did pretty good. And thanks to that, that's how I got to be involved with NBC, Telemundo, Channel 7, ABC. And I do help the 116th Street Street Festival. So every year I do their food pavilion along with other different restaurants. I kind of organize the whole entire food pavilion and overlook it. I don't cook or anything with that. So basically, that Sofrito was born out of the my love for Latin food. And the thing is that I was very Americanized, Puerto Rican Americanized. And I never thought in my life I would fall in love with a Puerto Rican guy. But Danny and I've been together for going on 12 years, and somehow in the past 15 to 18 years, I sort of came more. I went back to my roots, and I kind of embraced my roots. And it happens. I was born here and raised in Puerto Rico, but all the time, while living in Puerto Rico, I was going out with some American guy or something like that, or somebody who was not Puerto Rican. It's just I was attracted to that, and so that's why Sofrito magazine was born. I decided to go back into the history of where does the Latino food come from? Where does what were the things that the Taino Indians did for us? That no, there are things that help the community of Puerto Rico and the food. I mean, it's barbacoa, basically like barbecue. It's a word that comes from the Taino Indians from Puerto Rico. It's a way of roasting things. It's not actual barbecue sauce itself, but it's a roasting method that they use. So the word barbacoa is from a Taino language. Different things that we use nowadays are from Taino descent and from the Arawaks and from all the different Caribs that ate so much to the food, and that's what Sofrito magazine kind of embraces and talks about in some sections. And then I had guest writers and I had guest interviews. I also did a couple of events at William and Sonoma where I had guest chefs with me cooking at their kitchen, and hopefully we will be going back to doing that as well and highlighting all the different chefs. I highlighted Chef Willow Bennett. I had on the first Latina chef to win Master Chef in the magazine, Claudia Sandoval. She was in my, and I interviewed her. I interviewed Willow Bennett. I interviewed different chefs that had something to do with the movement of Latino cuisine.
I love that, because that's the same, like I said, all my tie to my family history is all through food. But yeah, we have a couple more comments again that I can't understand, but would love to. Again, just never didn't grow up in a household speaking Spanish, but I love that the timer was going off. Oh, hold on. It muted you. Hold on. Yep. There we go.
I just wanted to make sure that Tita knows this. I was not born in Puerto Rico. I was born in New York, Brooklyn, New York. I was raised in Puerto Rico, and I came back. So, Tita, no. I was born here, like your brother and you. So this rice is almost ready, and now I'm going to see the chicken right here, and quickly, just chicken is perfect. It's ready. So look at that. Food is ready on time. And we still have some time to talk about stuff.
I
Yeah,
love
we
it.
still have 15 minutes to go. So I told you this is about 25 to 30 minutes on worth the average of the cooking. So let me put this together for you. Let's get a plate.
I can just imagine what your kitchen smells like.
Oh, oh boy, it smells so good. So, oh my God, this rice came out beautiful. So see how beautiful this is. And just bring it over. Nice and, oh, where's my camera? Right there. Nice and fluffy. So let me just put this together for you. And
I appreciate the very New York thing of hearing people outside your window.
Yes, the babies are out. Mm-mm-mm. So here we go. That's our arroz con pollo, and I love thigh and chicken. So here's another thigh in there, and I'm gonna just put a little bit of a little bit of this on top. And there you go, Michael. That's your.
Oh, that looks amazing. Comment what you think about it in the comments because it looks amazing. Oop. There we go.
I can't find it. Hold on. Where is my camera in this thing?
There we go. Technology. We're still learning it. A year in. That looks amazing. I bet it smells and tastes amazing. Again, for those who didn't see it before, if you go to the event page, all the recipes there. You can see it. I love the fact that you molded your rice. But yeah, it looks so good. I'm so jealous. I'm going to have to make it once I have time to go. And the very first thing you talked about, the annatto seeds, I didn't realize it was a seed. I was like, where are you going to get that kind of oil? But now I know you make your own. So
I make my own, yes.
So it's probably
that's one of the things that are always in houses in in the island in the households, Puerto Rican household. It's a nice annatto oil, and that lasts at least 3 months if you know how to sort of like just make sure that you strain it, you take everything out. You can actually dry the seeds again. Let them dry in a very nice warm oven, not hot. Kind of turn the oven on, turn it off, and put it like 200 or less. Let it dry out, and then reuse it again. So
awesome. That's great tips. I love it. Everyone, take notes. Take your notes. Share this with all your friends and family. Just another reminder that we are not just talking about food. We are raising money for amazing causes through each month that we do this. This month is for PFLAG New York. Again, that is a family-oriented organization for LGBTQ plus families and The New York chapter was the founding chapter. They help with schools and counseling, and for those who have been kicked out by their families for being just who they are, which is an unfortunate reality for a lot of our community. So please donate. Net proceeds will be sent to them. The donation for that particular organization will be open via the PayPal link through the end of May 31st. So the entire month of May, we are raising money for this, for PFLAG New York. And again, shout out to all the moms, whether again, blood, chosen, adopted, step, all of the above. You are amazing. You help mold the world, whatever shape or form you come in. And another timer, that means something else is done. I love it.
And
you said something. You said
shout
white,
out,
right?
I'm sorry.
You said a white wine to go with the meal.
You can use a full body white wine. Something that will be nice and full body, like probably I would probably go with I will go with a Riesling with it. No, if they love wine, or if they're doing this, like I said, during the winter time, November, the Beaujolais Nouveau comes out, so that's a nice wine to pair with this, or a light sort of like a Syrah when you go with red, something light, because you don't want to overpower the sauce with it, and then you want to be able to enjoy the chicken, which is typically done with white wine. People use white wine. Some households, when they do this, they do it at a slower pace, and they add red wine to it, and that's what and they add more vegetables to it, and that's what is known as a fricassee. So you have this fast version, which is pollo guisado, the chicken stew, or the fricassee, which takes a lot longer to cook at a very slow heat, and then they add more vegetables, and then they add red wine to it as well, and things like that. So you have two versions of this, which is the same basic recipe. And shout out to all the fathers out there who are the moms in the house, especially the couples, the two fathers that live together. One of them usually is the one who takes more control and helping the kids being raised, while somebody else, and the other one is working, or both of them share the same thing, raising their kids. So shout out to them as sometimes they call Mother's Day and Father's Day, but shout out to some of them who also have the reign of being sort of like the mother of the house, over protective father.
I was gonna say we're not gonna put any gender roles on anybody, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But for sure, again, that's true. We have our single parents out there as well, so we have to make sure everyone is seen. But thank you again for doing this. I know we've been talking as we've been hosting these of like, when will each of us do a recipe? I know we've kind of talked about that. It kind of fell perfectly for this month. Everyone be on the lookout for our announcements at the beginning of June, because what is June? Pride Month. So we will be doing a special Pride.
Hey.
Hopefully with a special type of treat, not yet to be announced, but just please be on the lookout. Again, these happen currently on the second Thursday of every month. We're going to keep doing them until, we drop or aren't able to do them anymore. If you are a member of the Imperial Court of New York, a member of the international court system across the North America, or just a community supporter that wants to be our guest chef or a guest bartender, ping us on social media. Antonio T. Ventura is my court page. Even if you, send a message over to the court page, they'll get it to us. So yeah, just if you want to be involved, we'd love to have you. Anybody to be a guest bartender, as I said, or the guest chef, sharing your family's recipes or just your favorite recipes in general. Certain months are themed. Like this month was, cooking with our mothers. Next month may be rainbow themed just because of Pride Month. Who knows? And just, holiday themed and Thanksgiving, or rather just food themed in general, because food is food. Food is love. Food is amazing.
If you missed any of this by any chance, please remember you can watch this again at our YouTube page. So if you missed the beginning of this and you want to just go back and see this the way of cooking the dish, please join us and follow us also on the ICNY YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that reminder. Again, this will be, yes, this will be on our live here, the way that Facebook holds them, and then also on YouTube. Please go subscribe to that. We're trying to build that up. And if you love what we're doing today with the chicken stew with Nelson, we've also done callaloo, we've done lumpia. What else have we done? Done a lot. Like those are two that stick out to me right now. Like we've done a lot of them. But just go to the YouTube, go on our Facebook page here where we're live now, and all the videos are there. Please go like them. Just know that each month we do change our beneficiary to spread the love and spread the wealth. So this month is PFLAG New York. So that link will be open until 11:59 on PM Eastern on whatever day of the week May 31st is. I think Saturday maybe. I don't know. No, it's a Tuesday. Monday. Yeah, so please share this with all your friends. Please encourage them to donate. We do this for the community, and every little bit helps. Every dollar helps. Every penny helps, especially in times of need right now. I know we're coming to the, end. I'm going to put quotes around that of this COVID, unprecedented time that we're in. But people are in need, very much in need. Our community is very much in need. That's why we do what we do. To look them up, and please donate, and thank you. And again, shout out to our third host, Princess Royale Cutie Pie, who couldn't join today, but is also an amazing chef and pastry chef in her own right. Any parting words, Nelson?
We miss you, Jen. And also, I just wanted to say, everybody, please do take care of yourself out there. Keep yourself safe and sound, and do everything that you can possibly do to hopefully get rid of this thing that's happening with COVID-19. Take your mothers and go and give them a call. Please call your mom. Give her a kiss and a big hug when you're able to, and just keep them in your heart forever. Because mother is only one, and there is many of them that might help you and are there, and they're chosen mothers. But you have to make sure that you take care of the person that loves you the most, and that's important. Your mother is the one who loves you, and she will always be there for you, no matter where she comes from. God bless you all. Have a great time, everybody. And thank you so much for being part of this. And please, please, please donate to PFLAG. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.